Shall we talk rubbish? Well, when I say rubbish, I mean refuse. The business of waste management in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. Let's talk about that now because there's a lot to talk about. Very, very interesting. Joining us now is the Managing Director of the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, Mr. Ibrahim Odumboni. Special guest because there's been a lot going on in waste management. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us on the exchange. Can you talk to us about waste management in Lagos? What are the most critical challenges that your organization is facing?
Good evening. For Lagos Waste Management Authority, our key challenges boils around some of our operational needs. So I mentioned the major one at the end. So our key ones would be, number one, we need residents to continue to patronize their PSPs. People need to stop throwing their waste and refuse in the medians and also in our drainages as well. And also we have to stop all form of indiscriminate dumping and open defecation in our environment. But most importantly, we have the situation whereby we're using old trucks to deal with new emerging waste management challenges. And I can confirm to you through the team's agenda, our governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, promised us that he's going to revamp LAWMA, he's going to rejuvenate us, and it's going to give us the right tools to do the job. And I know tomorrow is commissioning 102 waste compactors, 102 waste management trucks, and then 100 double Dino Bins for us to manage waste in public places. What that is doing for us is we're using latest state-of-the-art technology that you can find in any developed country to address our waste challenges in Lagos. And I'm quite confident that the current administration is in line with its team agenda to understand, to help Lagosians understand what the major needs for waste management will be in years to come, not only planning for the immediate plan for this administration, but looking years ahead, beyond 2030 and go. Thank you.
Excellent stuff. All right, so it sounds like money is what's going to fix this problem, but you say you've got some assurances and promises from Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. What innovations are you bringing on board to meet the challenges of LAWMA? I
think apart from what we're going to see tomorrow is quite a monumental day. It's an historic day for LAWMA, and also congratulations to all Lagosians for the huge investment that the current administration is making in waste management for years to come. Also, we've had some innovations that we've introduced to support that. So recently, in the past, I know on the 5th of September 2019, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu launched the Lagos Blue Box Initiative to promote the sorting of waste from source and recycling as a whole. And we've continued to develop at the back of that. We've also introduced technology to support that particular initiative. And that's why we have the Packham app that can be downloaded by residents either on iOS and on Google Play as well, to be able to use that to manage our recyclables across board. We generate about 30,000 metric tons of waste on a daily basis in Lagos, of which we know 25% of them are recyclables. So by using and by sorting our waste from source, we actually reduce the impact on the environment, and we open the sector up for a lot of business opportunities that recyclers can make better use of. Also, we also have the Ministry of Environment. They've introduced a app, which is the City Monitor app, to be used by everybody across board, including LAWMA, to support our operational efficiencies as well. And the key aim is to advocate for proper waste management, at the same time highlight areas of concerns and areas that we need to reach. And we've also seen a lot of investment from this administration on disposal. As we have 5 waste management dump sites across the state, with a huge investment by our governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in ensuring that we have a quick turnaround time in our dump site. Gone were the days where PSPs will go to dump sites and they speak 24 hours before you come back for the next job. But now our turnaround time is significantly reduced. Now PSP can go there and come back in less than an hour because of the rehabilitation that's been happening across our dump site. We also have a huge investment in terms of our people. We revamped our whole programs, from the sweeping down to marine waste, down to construction waste, down to our enforcement and capacity building for our PSPs as well. Not only is this administration investing in assets for LAWMA, to be able to be a good regulator and also deal with public waste. For our PSPs, today saw the relationship that was established partnership between FCMB and our PSP, for them to look forward into the future as well and use a very suitable financial package to revamp their home fleet as we go along as well. So that in all, we bring a very sustainable, smooth running and competitive waste management structure to Lagos State.
Excellent stuff. Great stuff. Very illustrative, very deep. We're going to keep you on here, please, Mr. Odumboni, who is Mr. Ibrahim Odumboni, Managing Director of the Lagos State Waste Management Authority. It's still Arise Exchange and Arise News. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Arise News. It is the Arise Exchange. We're still in conversation with the Managing Director of the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, Mr. Ibrahim Odumboni. Welcome, sir. So thank you for sticking around with us. So you were, just talking about a number of initiatives, including technology that you're using to streamline your operations. I have to ask you about funding. Is LAWMA constrained in terms of funding? What funding windows are available to you directly or via partnerships with the private sector?
Well, I think in regards to the funding for LAWMA, the administration that we currently have in Lagos State, led by Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, is giving LAWMA the adequate funding support that it needs to be able to deal with the current waste management challenges and think ahead of what we need to plan for in the future. And that is some of the things that will be happening tomorrow with the launch of those trucks. Also, with the support of the House of Assembly and all the other stakeholders in the environment sector, we've had a collective and joint responsibility to ensure that adequate funding is put in place to sustain a lot of our program. It's not cheap to manage waste in Lagos, but I know the administration is keeping it as the key priority, and that's why it's one of the things that the governor signed in order when he was inaugurated as a president, as the governor of Lagos State. So quickly for me, we've also seen a lot of partnership come from the private sector. We've had quite a lot of organizations join us, especially banks in Nigeria as a whole. They've come to us to help, like we got First Bank, FCMB supporting our PSP to change their fleet as well. That's in the region of over 5 billion in total. Then also we have other banks like Heritage Bank supporting our recycling program. We have Access Bank supporting our LAWMA Academy program. And internationally, we have keen investors like IFC and co, interested in what we do in LAWMA. But as we go along, we are also planning to have an investor forum that will bring about finance, academic, and practical to sit together and talk about what are the investment opportunities that we have in waste management in the state as a whole. So that's something that will be coming up as well. But overall, we're having a very favorable financial stability and support in LAWMA.
All right, great stuff. Does financial stability also include increasing charges for garbage collection? Why have you increased those charges? Is it because of the economic environment? What's the reason behind that?
So when it comes to the cost of operations generally, for our PSPs in particular, so they are the ones that service the collection of waste from various households. We could recall, for those of us we could recall very well that we had a policy somersault just before the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And the charges that were in place at that point in time was last reviewed by PSP in 2009, and then there was an approach to review it in 2015. Then came the policy somersault. So if you look at the way operational needs of PSPs when they go to house to pick at least once a week, the cost of diesel in 2009 is not the same cost of diesel that we have now. Inflation rate is there as well for all our investors that are PSPs. The cost of buying tires, maintaining their truck, minimum wage has changed as well, and when they have implemented with their staff and other things. So I think it's fair enough for us to ensure that they remain in business and not becoming a going concern. But one thing that LAWMA as a regulator stands on, with the support of the Ministry of Environment, for any increase in prices across any estate or any household, we need to ensure that the CDCs, the CDAs are in discussion with the PSP. And LAWMA is present there as a facilitator of that conversation to ensure that a fair pricing is agreed across board. And in a situation whereby a PSP is trying to impose any price on any residents or any streets or whichever area they cover, people are encouraged to report that to LAWMA immediately, either in writing or through our customer service line, which will be shared with your team at the end of this discussion.
Thank you so much. That sounds fair. That sounds fair. I mean, you mentioned inflation, you mentioned cost of diesel. Exchange rate definitely has to factor in there as well as importing the trucks that have to come in to do the job that you need to do. Speaking of the trucks, do you think there are enough garbage trucks and garbage bins for collection in Lagos City?
I think with what we have now, Lagos generates about 13 metric tons of waste daily, and an average truck will take about 10 tons. So with the PSP, with our PSPs, we have in excess of between 850 and 900 amongst them. With the investment that Governor Biden Sanwo-Olu is made in LAWMA, with us having a new fleet come tomorrow to add to our existing fleet, I think we are in a better position to address the challenges for years to come. And also with the partnership that the PSPs have had today with FCMB, we'll be able to see a lot of them change their existing fleet, increase the volume of trucks they have in their fleet as well. For Lagos to be well managed, based on the amount of waste that we generate, we estimate that we need between 1,100 to 1,300 compactors. With what we have currently now, it will really complement. And also to add to this, those double Dino Bins are at the same size capacity as much as a compactor. So the only difference is they are placed in a place and then we come and collect them at a certain time. So instead of us having a moving compactor around, we have a stationary compactor, which is another 100 compactors in real terms, that we can go back and evacuate to take to our dump site for processing, for disposal. Thank you.
Great stuff. A couple minutes to go. I quickly want to ask you about a very important question here. The personnel at LAWMA, training, equipment, welfare. What's up with that?
So for us, we take capacity building as something that is very important. Starting from myself as a managing director, I've been on different training and attended different training and seminars to brush up my management skills. That applies to my management team all the way down to our drivers, to our sweepers on the road. So what we do is we do quarterly training, for example, for our sweepers, and even these trucks that we're having tomorrow, they are all put and designed by our engineering team. Anyone in our engineering team, be it a technician or a mechanic or the drivers, can actually tell you if there's any troubleshooting with those trucks that we're having. We design it in our compound in there. And we were there with Mr. Dangote Sino trucks when they are putting them together. So those are the things we want to encourage. We want to promote the local content where we have our own influence on everything we do. And at the same time, like Mr. Governor will always say, we need to encourage and ensure that we are providing adequate employment for the unemployed youth out there. So LAWMA currently employs formally and informally over 31,000 staffs in total. So this administration has really made a massive investment in LAWMA, in waste management as a whole, to create more job opportunities and a sustainable future for all Lagosians.
Mr. Ibrahim Odumboni, thank you so much, Managing Director of LAWMA, Lagos Waste Management Authority. Lots that we got into there. Wish you the best of luck, and we hope to see the dividends of the investments over the course of time in Africa's, with commercial capital of Africa's largest economy. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.